Back here on the Rich Eisen Show after, I guess, we missed last year due to everything that went down with the virus, but March Madness with the first four tipping off tonight, and then the Field of 64 through the lens of CBS Sports and Turner Sports. Joining us here on the Rich Eisen Show to help me fill in my brackets is Clark Kellogg. How are you, Clark?
Rich, great to visit with you, and I'm doing great, healthy and safe, as is my family. I trust you can say the same thing. Just flooded with gratitude and excitement to be able to do something we've done for decades and weren't able to do last year because of the coronavirus pandemic. So just extremely grateful.
Excellent.
And excited to be able to step into this 3-week run to a championship.
I feel the same exact way, Clark. So, all right, let's start. Baylor versus Hartford. Go. You thought I was kidding. I really need you to help me fill up my brackets.
Well, you got that one. You don't need me for that one. I like the Bears. I actually like the Bears to come out of the South. I know my alma mater, the Buckeyes, are there, and they've been really good, resilient, tough all season long, coming out of the toughest conference in the country, in my opinion. But I like Baylor because of what I saw mid-season, early season from that team. And I think with the benefit of a few extra days of practice leading into the tournament, they will get back to that early mid-season form when they were clearly one of the most dominant teams in the country alongside with Gonzaga.
And we do have that part of the bracket up there in the South region. It's just and both of those 8, 9, and 5, 12 games of the South region are in the same bracket as obviously the top seed right there. And to me, you know, those are the games in the first round that always leap out at me for a highly competitive contest that could actually give the 1 seed a run for their money, or the 12 seed that ends the season for a 5 seed, which is always, you know, obviously somebody that hasn't won their conference, but somebody who did have a nice run in their conference, maybe in their conference championship game. Out of the 5, 12, and 8, 9 games that are out there, which ones leap out at you, starting with the 8, 9, that could actually give a 1 seed a run for their money in this tournament?
You know, it's interesting. They may not give Illinois a run for the money, but it would be an intriguing matchup if Loyola Chicago is able to get by Georgia Tech, who's been playing extremely well, although Georgia Tech lost, at least for this first game, they lost Moses Wright. I think COVID-related issues, and he's not available. So I targeted that 8-9 matchup as just one that was intriguing, and also the potential for the second round. The other one that really intrigued me was Lsu Saint Bonaventure. LSU is an elite offensive team that sometimes struggles defensively. The Bonaventure Bonnies are an elite defensive team that can control pace. That just stylistically could be a really fun one to watch. And either one of those teams could be a problem for a Michigan team that likely plays this tournament without Isaiah Livers, an all Big Ten forward who does a lot for them. So those were the two that kind of jumped out at me. I know everybody will look at North Carolina, Wisconsin, because those are pretty strong brand names, and they've got size that could give Baylor some problems. But I like the Bears to be able to handle that next round reasonably well.
Yes, and, you know, trust me, when I saw LSU an 8 seed after almost winning the SEC tournament against, you know, Alabama, which is, if I'm not mistaken, is the 2 seed within that
That's correct.
region as well. I'm sitting here thinking, with Michigan being banged up like that, that 8 seed for LSU seems to be a little bit low. Who else has been seated lower than you think? Just looking at this bracket writ large, going into the first 4 tonight.
Oregon is a little low to me at 7. Not terribly so, and, you know, you can go a line or two either way. But Oregon would be kind of a dangerous team, I think, at that 7 seed, stylistically, how they play. I tell you what, in terms of another team that may outplay its seed, the Georgetown Hoyas. They might outplay that 12 seed, Rich. I had them twice. One time I was doing it remotely when they came back and beat Providence, and I was in Gamble Pavilion 2 weeks ago when they lost to UConn and got handled pretty easily. But that run through the Big East tournament, the way Patrick has them playing hard, those seniors, Pickett and Blair and Belay, have really started to have the positive side of senioritis, where they're playing with nothing to lose, with great confidence and abandon, and on a mission. And don't discount the factor of John Thompson Jr. Leaving us dying this summer, Patrick Ewing coaching at his alma mater. I mean, those are galvanizing elements that sometimes can help a team make a special run through the tournament.
How about that one too, Clark? Right? Now, Georgetown with Patrick Ewing in Madison Square Garden. I know.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the actual basketball was lost amongst Patrick, wondering why he, with a very rare for Patrick Ewing, "Don't you know who I am?" type moment. About his credential needing to be presented in the building in which his credential is actually hanging in the rafters,
Right.
But what a great, that is just amazing to me that Ewing is maybe in the role of 1985 Villanova in a way.
Come
right?
on now. Come on now.
What do you
think? Hey, that's not far-fetched. I can see how you can connect those dots, Rich.
Right?
I can see it.
You know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. Because that's part of what makes this time of year special, because something like that is going to happen somewhere, perhaps. And why not the Hoyas?
Why not the Hoyas? The 12th seed. The 12th seed. Now Villanova in '85 was the 8th seed before, obviously taking out those Hoya destroyers back in the mid '80s. So what about? So we've talked about Michigan being a banged up 1 seed. We talked about Illinois, and you mentioned about Baylor. Obviously, we're all talking about Gonzaga, which enters as, I guess, the strongest number 1, certainly the top seeded team out of all the number 1s, and the opportunity to go undefeated. We've been waiting for Mark Few to cut down a net. Do you think this is it, and they're going to go undefeated on the season in the process, Clark?
I do. I picked them in the bracket that I had to reveal after the selection. So, in the last segment of our selection show on Sunday, and I picked Gonzaga. It would be a phenomenal story on many levels. From the standpoint of, one, we haven't had an undefeated national champion since the Indiana Hoosiers in '76. But two, amidst the backdrop of the pandemic, Mark Few and Gonzaga have been a big time program. I mean, they're elite as a basketball program. They maybe have the championships that Kentucky and Carolina and Duke, Kansas, others have. But clearly in this last 15-year period, they've been right on the same level of those schools in terms of production and wins, sans the championship. So how appropriate and fitting would it be if, in fact, they got it done to do it in this circumstance in an undefeated fashion? And they're clearly capable. Not any discernible weakness that I can pick up, other than maybe a team can slow them down, grind them to a halt, make them play half court. Would they be able to grind out that kind of game? I say they could, but that would be the one area where I might hesitate. But I think they deserve the overall 1 seed, and they're clearly the top favorite in my mind to win it all.
And the reason why others might not believe that is why they still can't get over the fact that it's a small school from the state of Washington, that perhaps much of America that might not be as attuned to sports because of the pandemic, let alone college basketball, would hardly even see play an entire half, let alone an entire game. Is that are we still buying that?
I think I think part of it, and there's still a pocket of folks out there who follow the game closely that give some credence to the fact that the conference isn't the Big Ten or the SEC or the Big 12. The Big Ten and Big 12 were clearly the top leagues in the country by representation and by quality of play, top to bottom. And so that would be the one thing that those who are not in the camp of Gonzaga being able to do it, that would be one of the major pillars of defense. The conference doesn't challenge them enough. But Gonzaga challenges themselves in the non-conference schedule to the degree that they could have it this year and prove more than capable of playing against and beating anybody. And I don't think that changes because it's the tournament.
Clark Kellogg of CBS Sports. He'll be in a studio with Greg Gumbel and the rest of the crew, including Wally Zerbiak, as part of the CBS Sports, Turner Sports hybrid coverage of the NCAA Tournament. I asked this question for my guy, Chris Brockman, across the way. Plus, we also forget, because we missed last year, how far does Syracuse go? Because nobody's seen the matchup zone before, and Jim Boeheim pulls off his usual magic and gets to the Elite Eight or the Final Four.
Sweet 16 at least.
It's just like, has nobody seen the way he plays defense out of the 90 years that he's been doing it with Ronnie Cycli, right? So, I mean, how does that happen this year?
Hey, Clark? It's just one of those quirky things. I mean, Jim Boeheim is obviously, he's been doing it a long time. He's had unbelievable success and knows his team and knows the game. I mean, I love hearing him talk basketball. He keeps it really simple. But they've got a real challenge, I think, against San Diego State. This team is coming off a year last year where they were going to be a relatively high seed. This team defends at a high level. They've got two seniors in Matt Mitchell and Jordan Shackle that have led them extremely well, shot making and play making. And they've got other pieces. I think San Diego State prevails in this first-round matchup against Syracuse. Although the zone will take some adjusting to, but I think San Diego State has enough defensively and offensively to move on in that matchup.
So when the score is 8-4 at the third television timeout of the first half, we'll know San Diego State's in trouble. Is that basically what you're saying?
No. As a matter of fact, if it's kind of a grinder, I think San Diego State would be fine.
Okay.
They'd be comfortable with that. Yeah, they would. They don't have to explode. I mean, they're a solid offensive team, but they hang their hat defensively and then rely on the playmaking of Mitchell and Shackle. And so I think they'll low scoring wouldn't be a problem for the Aztecs.
All right, a couple more questions left for Clark Kellogg here on the Rich Eisen Show. The first four tonight. You've got 2 games of 11 seeds, 2 games of 16 seeds. The one, I guess, with the most blue blood in it is UCLA versus MSU Spartans presented by Rocket Mortgage. Is that the game that leaps out to you this evening, Clark?
No doubt, clearly. As a matter of fact, my partner, Seth Davis, on Sunday night, he had the brackets. He and Greg got them.
Yep.
We actually all got them probably 30 minutes before our show. But I tend not to look at them until we actually reveal them to the public. I just kind of like not seeing them early. But he had already lost his mind when he saw that matchup as a first four, and he almost blurted it out against my wishes. So, yeah, that one, as soon as I did see that one come up on the screen, I was like, whoa. That's but hey, though both of those teams are in, and clearly they were not in by much, so that's an intriguing first four matchup. And I haven't filled out my bracket completely yet, Rich, because I want to see who wins that one. That's the only spot I haven't filled out because I think Michigan State could give BYU a little more trouble than UCLA might.
All right.
I'm just kind of waiting on that one.
Okay, and then last one, give me the Cinderella. Give me the one if you could peg.
Well, you got to define Cinderella for me.
Okay, let's
define it. Everybody has a different definition for Cinderella.
All right, so somebody 6 seed or lower, and I choose 6 because I think that's what my Wolverines were in Seattle in 1989. So 6 seed or lower. That goes the distance, cuts down the nets, has a shot to, or even Final Four. I'll even lower the bar slightly, even though it's clearly still very pie in the sky. Who do you think has the opportunity to catch some fire, go the distance, and make a run here to the Final Four?
I didn't really see a 6 or lower seed getting to any Final Four, but if you're going to force me to choose one, which you are doing on your show,
yes, sir.
What
do you think?
I like the Cinderella element of the Hoyas. I would go there because they've got some shot makers. The young point guard Dante Harris is really starting to grow in confidence, and there's something special about the grit that Patrick Ewing brings to his team and that they take to the floor. So, and that region, I love Florida State though, but they're a 4 seed.
They're 4 seed.
I picked Texas as my non-number 1 seed to get to Lucas Oil Stadium for the Final Four. But if I hadn't picked Texas, it would have been Florida State. I didn't go below the 6th line, but if I had to, I would I would lean Georgetown.
All right. And then give me a couple first round. I lied just for the last question. First round upsets. What do you think?
I like UC Santa Barbara.
Okay.
Like the matchup with Creighton, and I love the team. They defend. They've got a great player in Ja'Cory McLaughlin. He's terrific. I think Villanova is going to survive against Woodford. They're going to find a way even without Colin Gillespie. But I like Utah State over Texas Tech as well.
All right. Those are some good ones. And then I guess last one for you is how do you think the pandemic and the bubble is going to affect the way this goes? And by that, I mean, do you see we might see better play because there's no travel involved? There's just going to be they're just going to stay there and they'll be on a regular sort of home, if you will, practice schedule. Do you think we'll see a little bit better action or more upsets? Or I'm just wondering if this is going to be any different in any way, shape, or form, you think, based on the circumstances?
I'm not, that's a great question. I'm not sure, but I do believe that we've had a pretty good quality of play all season long. As I've watched games, and I've watched 3 digits worth of games over this season. So I think the quality has been surprisingly good across the board. I think that continues. I just don't know where COVID might rear its head with the team in a significant way. Thinking of Moses Wright and Georgia Tech, for instance.
Right.
Will we have 2 or 3 more of those with teams that would really suffer from the loss of a player? That's the one extra. But I think quality of play and the excitement, I think all that we've come to enjoy and love about March Madness will be on display. I don't think there'll be any added advantage for not traveling and having it in one place. I don't think there. I just think we're going to have similar to what we've had with the outlier of COVID maybe showing up in unexpected ways once the tournament starts, and that could disrupt some things. But otherwise, the game, the drama, the unpredictability, quality of play, I think all of that will be comparable to what we missed from last year.
All right. You got me all fired up, Clark Kellogg. I look forward to seeing you on my television screen. Miss seeing you do what you do last year, and let's catch up during the tournament. I'd love to have you.
Yeah, look forward to getting back. Enjoy the madness. It should be a run like no other.
Fantastic. Clark Kellogg, at Clark Kellogg CBS on Twitter, right here on The Rich Eisen Show. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.